Blazers return home tonight after a nice little road trip. A road trip that saw them go 2-1, which is pretty nice considering the competition that they had to play. They had a game against Oklahoma City, which is a little bit of a rough one, but everyone outside of San Antonio has a rough game against Oklahoma City. And then, they go and they play that San Antonio team that has beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. And it was a interesting game because you go in, you're like, okay, there's no Victor Wembanyama. That's good. This team's completely different without Victor Wembanyama. The Blazers were riding high because they started the 2026 calendar year with a victory over the Pelicans, 122-109 the night before. And now you get the Spurs, who are still a darn good basketball team, even without Victor Wembanyama, one of the top in the Western Conference. And the Blazers, they played a complete game. I described it as clutch. Even though they missed some free throws down the stretch, it was a clutch game because they gave you the performances they needed to. They grabbed a 115-110 victory. As I said, this is Blazers Game Day. I'm your host, Chris Burkhardt. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can also go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and join the chat there where, friend of the show, Patrick, has already chimed in with Brock Purdy is trash. Go Eagles. Okay, I'll bet you a Jollibee sandwich on this game. Loser buys lunch, my friend. Loser buys lunch, because obviously you guys know me. I'm a Niner fan. Patrick is an Eagle fan. And we got some NFL playoff action coming up. So, yeah, loser buys lunch. And if I lose, it's going to be an IOU. Now, the Blazers, like I said, they went into San Antonio. They had a clutch game. And the reason I said clutch, even though, yes, they did miss free throws down the stretch, and, it's just always hard when you miss those free throws. Clutch can mean so much more than hitting a free throw with the game on the line because the Blazers weathered every single storm that the Spurs tried to hand their way. Every single time the Spurs tried to get them to break, they did not, in fact, break. Again, they answered the call, and I thought they had clutch performances from everybody on the roster. And again, yes, we could talk about those missed free throws, but I don't think that missing free throws means you did not have a clutch game because there's 48 minutes of action, and you have to completely figure out what's going on, all right? Like, it's not just about those free throws. So, again, I thought they played clutch. You look at the box score, San Antonio won the points in the paint battle, 54-42. Second chance points, highly in favor of your Blazers, 26-18. I guess so the 8-point difference, and in a 5-point game, that's huge. It's clutch. Bench points in favor of your Blazers, 30-18, and the turnovers again after having a season low 9 turnovers against the Pelicans. We talked about how this Blazer team needed to continue to take care of the ball. Would be hard to do because last time they played the Spurs. That was back in November in the NBA NBA Cup games. They had 20 turnovers. 20 turnovers that led to a mass amount of points off turnover for San Antonio, which was the main reason San Antonio was able to run away with that game. In this game, they took care of the ball, had 11 turnovers as a team. Toumani Camara led the way with 4. Denny Avdia had just 2 on a night where he was tasked with doing quite a bit. So you like the performances from the Trailblazers there. Now you look at the individual box score. Julian, geez, I can't speak all of a sudden. Julian Champagnie had 20 points for the Spurs. Harrison Barnes had 14. Luke Cornett had 23. Stephon Castle had 16. And De'Aaron Fox had 19. All of the starters in double figures. They were led off the bench by Dylan Harper with 6. Luke Cornett did not expect him to be the leading scorer, but a solid 23 points on 10 of 12 shooting. On the Trailblazers side of things, 20 points from Toumani Camara, so a good bounce-back game. We've talked plenty about the consistency from him. They need to get him to a point where he's having those 15 to 20-point games more often, and not so many of those 6-point games where he's just not shooting well at all. You need him to play better, so for him to jump out and have that 20-point game, very good. Chris Murray, 6 points, couple rebounds starting for Jeremy Grant. Donovan Clingan, again, when you talk about clutch, 24 points, 9 of 12 from the floor, 12 rebounds. He was absolutely incredible. And then Shaedon Sharpe, not so clutch. 3 of 16 for just 6 points. He has to have a massive bounce back game tonight. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Caleb Love, 6 of 13 from the floor. He had 16 points. Very nice to see. But Denny Avdia was the story in this one. A 29-point, 10 rebound, 10 assists, triple-double. I mean, the guy's just been absolutely incredible, so much so that it was announced earlier in the day today that he was named the NBA Western Conference Player of the Week over the last week of games, averaging 26.8 points, 9.8 assists, and 8.5 rebounds. So needless to say, Denny Avdia has been on an absolute tear. It was his birthday, so you get a victory on your birthday over the weekend, and then you get to come back here home, and it is Denny Avdia Glassware Night. So for all of you guys collecting the Blazers glasses, you get another one tonight. It's just Denny Avdia. So it's all Denny Avdia all the time right now. And again, what can you say? But yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. He's been so good. I think it would be great to get Joe Cronin with some truth serum one day and ask him if, when you pulled that trade for Denny Avdia, did you expect him to be this good? Like, did you really expect him to be legit in the conversation for an all-star bid and the best player on the team and someone you may build around, which we will talk about in a little bit too, because I've had a couple of my friendly yet crazy Blazer fans reaching out about what they think the Blazers should do with Denny Avdia. But no, to go out there, win Player of the Week, put this team on your back, you go 2-1 on that 3-game trip, beat a very good Spurs team. And I don't care that they didn't have Wemby, because that is still a good Spurs team. They took advantage, won the game. And now you come back home for another 4-game homestand, and you got Utah tonight, which you would hope that you can put it together and win that ball game. You're going to get lots of Donovan Clingan versus Yusuf Nurkic in this one. And then you got Houston twice, and then you got New York. This is a tougher homestand. You're hoping to, maybe split one with Houston or upset the Knicks, and you go 2-2 on this thing. And then again, you get to that point of the year where the schedule really does start to loosen up on this Blazer team, and then hopefully continue to keep your fingers crossed. You get some health back. You get some players back sooner rather than later. We've seen the updates over the last few days on Scoot and Jeremy and Drew, but you need those guys in the lineup ASAP, because that's going to benefit you. But overall, again, it was a good little road trip for the Blazers. I think most of us expected what was going to happen in OKC to happen, and it did indeed happen. But then when you get the win in NOLA and San Antonio, that's a big feather in the cap right now. I like the way that they played, especially in that San Antonio game, to weather every single punch that San Antonio tried to throw at them. And those are the type of games you can definitely build momentum on. So entering the game tonight, Portland comes in winners of 2 straight. They are 6-4 in their last 10, and they are 9th in the NBA Western Conference. So not a bad spot to be. All things considered, when we talk about the injuries piling up and, oh, gosh, they dropped this game, really wish they would have won it. Are they winning? Are they not? I think the fact that right now they are 4 games under 500 but still firmly entrenched in the play-in is a good spot to be. And then you got Utah, who's right there. Utah, the Clippers, the Mavericks are all 17 games back overall. So you got a 3-game lead on Utah. So a game tonight is actually more important than you would think, because it helps to continue to create that gap between you. You know that Dallas will probably end up playing better at some time this year as Cooper Flagg continues to become a better basketball player. And then the Clippers are a team that you definitely got to watch. They've lost their last game, but they're also 6-4 in their last 10, which is half of the wins they have this season. They're 12-22, and half their wins have come in their last 10 games, slowly starting to put it together there too. So again, a game like tonight against Utah could go a long way in helping the Blazers continue to fully grab on to that play-in spot, where right now they are sitting at number 9, just 3 games back of Golden State, who's currently 8th. This is Blazers Game Day. I'm your host, Chris Burkhardt. You can follow me on social at Chris J. Burkhardt. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we're going to head to the coach's corner here from head coach Tiago Splitter ahead of this game against the Utah Jazz. All right here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio, 620. Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you. We're just waiting on head coach Thiago Splitter to get to the podium, and we'll hear from him, hear what he has to say ahead of this game. Maybe we'll get some injury updates. I don't know, but until then, we'll continue to have the conversations here in the chat where it start talking about the NFL, where our friend of the show, the Dirt Mock Fritz, is telling me come to Pendleton, play some golf courses. That's where he's at. I said, hey, you got to come to those OSA basketball championships in March. We'll be in Pendleton for a few days. I usually do the roundup. I hit Baker, Pendleton, then go down to Coos Bay for all the small schools. I'm there for a few nights. Hit up the Rainbow Room, get some beverages, and then go to bed. So yeah, we'll hit you up. And then Timmy says, I bet Chris plays mini golf at Bullwinkle's and brags about his 4-stroke lead on a kid. Here's the thing. You bet your ass I do. If I go, I'm playing mini golf against my children. I am competitive. I was an athlete, so there's only one thing I want to do, and that is win. We're not playing easy so that the kids come home and can tell the world they beat dad at mini golf. If they beat dad at mini golf, they got to earn it. They got to earn it. And that 4-stroke lead might be after the first hole. There is cutthroat. No time wasted. And I have to win mini golf games because I can't win the real golf games. I golf during the summer, get out a few times, not enough. That's probably why my game is bad. And my friends just keep inviting me because they're like, hey, how about loser buys a drink at the end? Okay, well, that's not fair because I'm automatically going to buy it. But I'll play anyway. Let's see what happens. All right, Brendan tells me coach is coming in, so let's head down to the podium.
The way he played for us and playing a different position and just changing the way he plays and being effective. So I knew it a little bit earlier than you guys. Call him. He was still, I think, sleeping, but didn't realize what it was. But happy for him. Told him just keep working. Just a little award, but keep working to get better, and you're in the right path.
So you woke him up with the call?
Well, basically, I think.
What do you like most about the way he's playing right now?
How aggressive he is, how resilient, and and he has an instinct where he's trying to get to a place, and he found a way. He finds a way to get there. He's shooting the ball with confidence. He's trying to get teammates involved, and he's learning how to win basketball games. I think we have some similarities coming from playing in Europe. So he's a team guy. He wants to win. He wants to be take the whole group and win basketball games, not just put numbers. Of course, he's putting the numbers, but it's to help the team win basketball games. So that's the part I love about him.
They're going to be announcing the all-star stuff at some point in the next few weeks. Is that something you guys talk about or think about as far as like him having a real shot at that?
Not us as coaches or staff. I think the players, mess around with him and joke about it, but like he's getting a massage before the other guys because he's an all-star or stuff like that. There's the jokes around, but of course, we'll see, and we always trying to think about team before individual awards, but in another way, everybody's happy about him.
Thiago, Donovan struggled as a rim finisher last year. Over basically the last month, he's finishing around 77% of his shots around the rim. What do you attribute to the drastic uptick? Because it's been a significant change.
Confidence. We're not telling him not to shoot those. We just give him go there, be strong with the ball on everything he does. There's no doubt on his mind when he gets the ball there. There's no doubt when he shoots a three. There's no doubt when he's doing anything. So it's all about confidence with him and encourage him to be the best he can be.
With the three-point shooting, is that something you've seen him, like how have you seen him improve at that? Is it just the confidence, or is there something else with him that's made that such a weapon?
So I got here, I think it was August, and I was working with him right before I became a head coach. So it was just a couple little things that we work on, but he just put hours and hours working on the shot, and he wants to. He knows where the league at, where you need to stretch the court. He understands that, and he understands that it's as important as a 5 to have that, quality as a decent shooter that he is right now. So I think now he's trying to get those fruits out of the work that he put these last years, I say.
Are you going to ever get to the point with that where you're going to be drawing up plays for him to get threes, or is it more just like if he's open, you're okay with him shooting it?
Yes. Right now, I'm okay with him shooting a couple of threes a game. He's still developing there. It's not like he's a dead shooter, but he's proving that he's getting better. That's for sure.
There's been a consistent drop or decline in drop coverage on pick and rolls across the league for the last 5 to 8 years. Understandably, I know why you guys play it a lot, but what's your thought on why there's the decline and what the struggle with it is at this point?
Well, I think like everything, right? Like we saw maybe a couple years ago, a lot of it. So everybody tried to take advantage of it somehow, some way, and then when the advantage was too big, people started to change or being more aggressive on the ball, or so it's always like you try to take advantage of what the defense gives you. With Donovan, of course, his mobility is not a player who will switch on the ball, so there's not many things you can do, but he's very good at what he does. So I don't know if you ask about Donovan or others, but explaining what we do on defense.
What do you attribute the decrease in turnovers to the last couple of games?
I just try to take care of the ones that we can control. The cross the paint or a kick ahead cross, or still do sometimes, those lob passes from half court or something like that, where we trying to force too much a pass. So trying to be a little bit more conscious of that. That's it.
And there you hear from head coach Tiago Splitter, obviously very complimentary of Denny Avdia, who's been on a tear as of late, as we mentioned, been absolutely incredible and earned Western Conference Player of the Week honors. You heard a little bit about Donovan Clingan. Yeah, he's okay with him shooting those few threes a night, and he's been hitting those at a pretty high clip. And then that last question you heard from Joe Freeman about turnovers, and they've been managing their turnovers a lot better over the last 2 games. Season low 9 versus the Pelicans, and then just 11 versus the Spurs. And quite honestly, there's been those nights where those turnovers are what do them in, and they end up getting in leads that are insurmountable, or deficits that are insurmountable, and they just can't control the ball, and the other team just keeps getting points off turnovers. And so you got to take care of the rock, and the Blazers have been doing that. Speaking of insurmountable leads, one of our texters said, I bet you can spank Chad on the golf course. No, that would not happen. I guarantee you, if Chad and I went out on the golf course, just the two of us, the amount of strokes that I would lose by would be significant enough for me to walk in to the clubhouse and ask them what the going rate is for my bag and clubs right then and there, cash offer, because I would never want to use them again. I would be demoralized, and it would just not be good. It would not be good. I've told Chad multiple times, like, I want to play golf with you one day when my golf game is respectable enough for, me to not irritate you because you're just ready to go to the next hole and I'm still halfway down the fairway looking for mine. First off, I wouldn't be in the fairway. I'd be off in the woods in the tall stuff looking for my ball. I don't know why I love that game so much because I'm pretty bad at it. Back to our mini golf talk, though. Dogcatcher says, speaking as a dad of a now 30-year-old, you got to take those wins when they happen. That's right. That's what I said. So I will boast about my Bullwinkle's victory in the mini golf course. In fact, as my kids get older, I'm gonna really rub it in. Like hey, you want to go to Bullwinkle's, play some mini golf? And then when I win, I'm gonna show them the trophy that I got in the back of the car. And I'm gonna put it up on my mantle as a constant reminder that they can't beat dad at mini golf. Like Dogcatcher says, you got to take your victories where you can. Just like the Blazers need to take their victories where they can. And I'm glad they got that one in San Antonio. We talked about it a lot in the pre- and post-game show about how even without Victor Wembanyama, that San Antonio team is dangerous. They got a lot of good players, a lot of weapons, can beat you in a lot of ways. That's why they are still, number 2 in the Western Conference. They're 25-10 on the season. They're 4.5 games back of the Thunder. They're 7-3 in their last 10, which is the second best in the Western Conference. The Suns are also 7-10, but the thing is, like the Spurs are good. Everyone looks at Victor Wembanyama and thinks that that's kind of the end-all, be-all. But even without Vic, like they are a good basketball team. And so I thought the Blazers going in there and really playing all 4 quarters and making those clutch plays when they needed to, that they absolutely took advantage and, won those games that they were supposed to win. And like I said, they can go take that trophy and put it on their mantle now. I don't care if it's, hey, we beat San Antonio in San Antonio, because like I said, I'm putting up my mini golf one. The point is, you take your wins where they can, and they took one. They needed to get that win. It became a whole lot more achievable with Victor Wembanyama out. And they didn't fold. And it took big performances from Denny. And, of course, Donovan Clingan was absolutely stellar. But I like that. What I don't like is when you see a team roll over and drop the games that they realistically shouldn't. And tonight, quite honestly, is one of those. Like, Utah is a team that the Blazers should beat. Now, Lauri Markkanen can light up the scoreboard, and Keontae George is great, and they have guys who can get you. But still, if the Blazers play like they did against San Antonio, the result of this game should not be in question. So if you're the Blazers and Thiago Splitter, the goal is to do what you did in San Antonio. You have seen now over the last 2 games what happens when you play 48 minutes, you take control of the ball, and you play good basketball. Now you just got to do it again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again. That's what we want to see. This is Blazers Game Day. I'm your host, Chris Burkhardt. If you want to join the conversation, you can head on over to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio. You can also hit us up on the text line 88528 or give us a call, 503-248-0620. Timmy chimes in with a hashtag whose line joke. That's when you compare things. That's when they compare things. Just made me think of, that's my line. Not whose line is it anyway. That's my line. Jay Lethal and the famous Ric Flair battle of the promos. Woo! That's my line. That's my line. Limousine riding, jet flying, Rolex wearing, kiss stealing, son of a gun. It is one of the best wrestling promos of all time. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on Blazers Game Day. When we come back, I'm going to dive into something that I did not expect to take up a chunk of my day today. And that was Blazer fans hit me up in a group chat on a Discord about the future of Denny Avdia and some of the things that were being said. I had to shake my head at. Got in a good debate. And I said, you know what? Segment 3, Blazers Game Day, you just found yourself a topic. The future of Denny Avdia. What do I mean? I'm going to let you know when we come back here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you. If you'd like to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. Of course, you can go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, where Jackson says, I wanted to be a moto tonight, but a new term of PCC has started today, and they already have me dishing out homework assignments like Denny on the court right now. I like that. I like that. Dish those homework assignments out. I don't know what the teacher triple-double is. Extra credit. What is that? Is that like a turnover? They didn't have to do much. It was just there. Didn't really count against their grade, but it could help them. I don't know. But I like that. Keep up the good work. Keep up the good work. Now, I said Denny Avdia. I wanted to talk about him because I've gotten some interesting Blazer chats today with my friend, Keith Feltner-Smith. You guys know him. I've had him on courtside a few times. He's actually been on game day in the fifth quarter with me. But he admitted that this may have come from some Trailblazers PTSD and some trauma with how previous trades have been handled. But he was trying to argue that the Blazers need to sell high on Denny Avdia because he's playing so good and get assets that fit in the timeline of the young guys if they want to trust the young guys and etc. And I put the clamps on that because I don't understand why the argument right now would be trade Denny Avdia while value is high. We're talking about a guy, my friends, who just won Western Conference Player of the Week, which was funny because that news dropped right in the middle of our debate. But we're talking about a guy who just won Western Conference Player of the Week, is averaging, 26, 7 and 7 on the year, has had multiple triple-doubles, is a main reason this team is where they are right now, and that is in the play-in despite everything that's gone on. He is legit in the conversation for potentially making an all-star game. He is a budding star in this league right now. And you get healthy next year, you get Dame back and all that, maybe his production goes down a little bit, but maybe also becomes more efficient with those production numbers because he doesn't have to shoulder so much of the load. But Denny Avdia has been incredible. And so I don't understand the logic. And Keith is not alone because we've heard these conversations, but I just don't understand the logic of wanting to trade the guy who has been the best on your team. To fit the timeline of Scoot and Shea, why? Denny Avdia has been more consistent and better than both Shea and Scoot. Let's just be completely honest. Scoot has been good, but has also ramped up very slow. And I'm not even talking about rehab, getting back onto the court. Everyone, I hope this is the year he makes the jump. Shaedon Sharpe, I hope this is the year he's made the jump. He's shown glimpses. He's had some good nights. Nothing like what Denny's done consistently right now. Well, trade the guys who fit the timeline. Denny doesn't fit the timeline. We're talking about a 25-year-old Denny Avdia and a 22-year-old Shaedon Sharpe and a 21-year-old Scoot Henderson. Well, if the 22 and the 21-year-old are your timeline, 25 is not something that cannot match with that timeline. Those two timelines can be intertwined, my friends. They are, in fact, more close than you would think. Now, if we're talking about a 35-year-old Denny Avdia and trying to get him to mesh with a core that is in 22 years old, then maybe we have a different conversation. But again, Denny Avdia has been absolutely incredible. And if you go back to the time the Dame was here in his prime before he went to Milwaukee, and those few years that he was in Milwaukee where Anthony Simons was leading the charge, what was the conversation? What did the Blazers need? Was it a guard? Nope. Was it a center? Nope. They had Yusuf Nurkic for large chunks. He was great. Rolo was great when he was here. You go out, you get Donovan Clingan in the draft. Okay, we're doing good here. I like this. Forwards. We need forwards. We need a power forward, small forward. We need something. We need a forward who can shoot, hopefully play some defense. We need forwards. And the other thing, you always argue with Damian Lillard, we need a star. We need another star next to Dame, another all-star. C.J. McCollum was great, but he wasn't sniffing all-star games. Part of that was just because the Western Conference was so stacked with shooting guards. Statistically, he had numbers that you could probably argue for it, but he wasn't an all-star. No one else was. Now you got a guy who is legit about to be an all-star, is in that position that you have needed for a decade now. And you're telling me that the best course of action for this Blazer team is to trade him? Trade him why the value's most high. Here's the thing. Unless Denny Avdia comes out next year and all of a sudden he's only giving you 2 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists, that value's not going anywhere. I don't see him getting drastically worse. And keep in mind, he has the best contract in the NBA. Best contract in the NBA, hands down. And Keith, the guy who brings up this argument, just text me in big letters, contract timeline, my dude. No one is arguing that 25 is not closer to 35. That's not my point. That was a point of argument for things lining up. Contract lineup does not matter to me, my friend, nor should it. Oh, guess what? Shaedon Sharpe just got paid, so you don't got to worry about his next contract for a while. Scoot Henderson, if he's part of your future, he's not going out and getting a max. He's not even playing right now. And we're talking about a Denny Avdia who has 2 more years on his contract, and one in which the last year is only going to pay him $11 million. That is like NBA minimum wage. And that is 2 years from now. And in 2 years from now, if you are not legit playoff contender, then sure, ship everybody off and start this thing over because you've been in rebuild mode for a minute. But you have guys right now who can contribute. Guys right now who look like legit stars. Guys right now, Denny Avdia, who looks like a legit building block. Trading that for assets to potentially get an 18-year-old in 2020 or 2029 or 2030 or whenever you get that first-round pick just seems absolutely backwards to me right now. At some point, you have to stop worrying about asset acquisition, and you have to start worrying about using the assets you have acquired to build the team you want to build. And if you look at what they did last offseason by going and signing Damian Lillard, bringing him back in, a piece that they know can contribute, go out and get Drew Holiday, who I think they want to be here to contribute. They still got moves they can make. They opened up the door from Donovan Clingan. He's been absolutely incredible. The team has been in win-now mode. And we have argued many a time that win now does not mean win championship now. Win now to me means the tanking is done. And I don't think this team is tanked. I think circumstantially they've been absolutely just blasted by these injuries. And you know, we've lived through this over the last few years with the fakes. This guy's hurt. We've never heard of this injury. All of a sudden, everyone on the team has it. No one's going to play for the last 2 months because we're going to try to improve our draft stock. That's not the case right now. Obviously, Matisse Thybulle's dealing with things outside of the thumb, which is unfortunate. We all saw Blake Wesley break his foot, which was unfortunate. Scoot's ramp-up has been super, super slow, which is unfortunate. Like I said, the one that you question the most is Drew Holiday. The calf strain has taken so long. But the team is trying to win. If this team were tanking, I think Denny Avdia would be the sign that the team's tanking. Because as one of our texters said during the game the other day, I don't think, tanking is in Denny Avdia's vocabulary. I don't think so either. That guy just wants to win. He wants to go play good hoops. And they've been playing good hoops. But I just don't think that trading him is the answer. You look at what this team did with Damian Lillard for the longest time. If Damian Lillard is the head of the head of the snake, he's your guy. And right now, maybe Denny Avdia is that guy. And I argued it in the offseason and everything. I want Shaedon Sharpe to be that guy. I think the team wants Shaedon Sharpe to be that guy. I don't think the team expected Denny Avdia to be as good as he is. But you can pivot. And this guy, we want to keep him. A guy who's playing like he is with a contract that is de-escalating. His value is through the roof, not for bringing in assets, but for building around. And like I said, you go back to Damon, what did they fail to do? They failed to build around. They were afraid of trading the Batman or the Robin to the Batman to bring in another Batman when they needed 2 Batmans. They didn't need Robin. They needed Nightwing, an actual superhero, not the sidekick. And then they just worked around the edges. Anthony Tolliver, Mario Hezonja, the ghost of Pau Gasol. There was never the big swing. So if Denny is the guy that you think is the building block, then you trade some of those guys eventually. You find a way to get off Jeremy Grant. You're not afraid of the value of Robert Williams. You're not afraid of Drew Holiday. Heck, you're not afraid of what might be of Scoot and Shea if you trade them. Because maybe they get you that guy that you really need to plug in right now, and it puts you in a better place. Denny's not the guy you trade. Not right now. And in 2 years, if you've built those pieces how you want to, and you've put yourself in the spot where you are a legit playoff team. The Blazers are, sitting there, and they are consistently fourth in the Western Conference or something. They're playing that type of basketball. Then you couldn't care less about Denny Avdia's contract, because you're going to go into the offseason, you're going to pay him a fat load of cash, you're going to go into the tax, but you're winning ball games, and you've built the team around him to afford that tax bill. It ain't my money, so I don't mind paying the tax bill because it ain't mine. The team can pay it. But winning is the priority there. Why reset that revolving door? When you finally got the guy that this team has argued that you have needed for so long, and you finally got the guy in that position playing out of his mind, why would you want to get rid of that for more assets and more possible potential? Because contract numbers don't line up, because the dates of when they're renewed or have to be re-signed don't line up. That is stuff for the general manager and the finance team to worry about down the road. Basketball-wise, trading Denny Avdia makes less sense than a penny's worth, and a penny's only worth 1 cent. I know cent and cents, they're not the same word, but they sound the same. You get what I'm laying down. That was also a reference to my man Keith, who brought up this argument because his favorite player is Anthony Simons, who he dubbed Penny. Get it? Everything connects eventually. But that was my rant. I told you I was going to make it a segment. He was texting me getting mad. No, this is my capital letters. Bro, you put the ammo in my T-shirt gun. I was just shooting shirts to everybody. All right? Come on now. Denny Avdia, I love what he's doing. I absolutely love what he's doing for this team. He has been incredible. Now, as I said, I personally wanted Shaedon Sharpe to be the guy. So if Shaedon Sharpe over the next 25 games takes the jump and becomes that guy, we're even better. And I don't care if he passes Denny Avdia, because then you got two guys who are really freaking good. And that's what it's all about. We'll see how this thing all shakes out. But right now, Denny is on my untouchable list. Unless you're bringing me Victor Wembanyama, then we'll talk. But until then, he's wearing a Blazer uniform. As Dogcatcher said in the YouTube chat, Denny's future, I want to see it winning a championship in a Blazer uniform. Darn right. All right, I know we got plenty of chatters. I'll catch up on those in a second. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, it's time for our keys to the game. What do the Blazers need to do to beat this Utah Jazz team? I'll let you know here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio, 620. All right, Brendan, I'm going to talk to YouTube for a few minutes here. All right. Now that we have got through my rant, thanks for listening. Colonel Pancakes, oh my gosh. I don't know if I've seen you chat before, but you're up there with Gamey and Skillard for a very good username. Denny's making that endorsement money right now. Yeah, that's right. So the de-escalating contract don't hurt him. He's going to make that money. But like you said, trading Denny is just asinine. And I would agree. Also, Dogcatcher, the alliteration works great. 2 cents. Thank you. I try to make sure the alliterations, the segues, my metaphors, everything matches and works well. So thank you for saying it works. And then I was like, I feel like I might have to explain that one. Otherwise, somebody will be like, dude, that's not the same word. Like, well, yeah, I know, but I got to explain it a little bit. But no, that's my rant. I'm looking at you, Mo Harkless. It's another one from the Dogcatcher. And then, was it Duron Daniel? Just Daniel. It's crazy to ask to trade Denny. Thank you. See, I'm not alone. Thank you. So, yeah, it's just, that was my rant. I think the thing is I think if you really want to trade Denny, then you are content. with constantly resetting the revolving door. Because you, at some point you have to say, okay, we've made moves, we've used our assets, we've got someone here that we like, and he's filled so many holes that you've asked to fill forever. Why do you want to trade that? If anything, okay, trade Scoot and go get assets for him. Trade Shea, go get assets for him. And I love Shaden Sharp, guys. I am a Shaden Sharp defender. Most of you know this. And I like Scoot. I still think there's a lot of value there. But if I'm putting, I like to work with the things that I know. And the things I know is right now, in the vacuum that is the 2025-2026 NBA season, who's a better basketball player? Scoot Henderson, Shaden Sharp, or Denny Avdia? Or Donovan Clingan, or Tumani Kamara, or anyone else on the Blazer roster right now? It's Denny Avdia. A guy who is legit probably going to make an All-Star game, which is incredible to think about. You've always wanted another star, not named Damian Lillard. You've always wanted a good forward. You got a guy in Denny. Latch onto it. Colonel Pancakes giving us some keys to the game. Limit turnovers and shoot 33%, and we dominate the Jazz, 33% from three. Need to build on the lead and give Denny rest, hopefully. It's good. I like that. All right, we'll be back in, what'd you say, about a minute there, Brendan? All right, and I'll give you my keys to the game. So we'll be right back, YouTube. Keys to the game. What do the Blazers need to do to get a victory over the Utah Jazz tonight? Well, you need to come out. I think the Blazers, the good way to counteract the Jazz is with my personal favorite genre of music, and that is metal. I'm a Metallica guy. That's thrash metal. That was, heyday. It was fast. It was just speed nonstop, note after note, headbang, go, one speed, full throttle. That's what the Blazers need to do tonight. Play to their strength. Get away from Utah. Run, 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 run. Denny's been great at that. I like to see Sharp getting out in space, get everyone going, get Donovan Clingan rolling, but use your tempo, which you've used over the last few games, to play great basketball, and it's led to wins. So you got to run, keep that pace up. Now, you look at the injuries. Walker Kessler out. He's been out all year most of the year, since November 5th after he underwent left shoulder surgery. You have no Georges Yang, who's out with a foot injury. Ace Bailey with a hip injury is questionable. He was out, but still listed as questionable. And then Kevin Love, rest, so we don't get to see the hometown guy. So you're going to see a couple holes in their lineup. But when you don't have Walker Kessler, it completely changes how this team can play at the rim. I mean, yes, they still got other guys in there who can go rebound and block shots and do things that they need to do. But boy, howdy, is Walker Kessler a talented center. We saw that when they played the Utah Jazz earlier in the season. I believe it was October 29th. Portland won that game 136-134. But Walker Kessler, 18 points, 12 rebounds, and a couple block shots. And this game, because why I bring him up is because this is going to come back down to exactly what I thought the Blazers need to do over that last three games. With no Hartenstein in Oklahoma City, they need to crash the boards. Against a small New Orleans team, they need to crash the boards. And against San Antonio with no Wemby, they needed to attack the glass. Use Donovan Clingan to his strengths, which is getting those offensive boards, cleaning up on the defensive end as well. So I do think getting on the glass is going to be crucial for this Blazer team tonight. And then, as some of our YouTube commenters said, I have been saying nonstop that I was going to say turnovers and keeping control of the ball were going to be a key to the game until they stopped turning the ball over. Well, over the last few games, they've kind of stopped turning the ball over. I still want more. I want more sample size to see if they're actually starting to turn a corner. So I want to see this team limit the turnovers once again. This can't be a night where you have 20 of them against a Utah team. Even though it's a Utah team that is looking to rebuild, they're trying to get some draft assets and do what they need to do. If you turn the ball over and give them free possessions, any basketball team will come out and beat you. This is the NBA after all. We have to be fully respectful here. And what I mean by that is we can talk about all day long the factual nature of the NBA standings. And that is, okay, this team has 20 wins. This team has 6 wins. Yes, in that vacuum, then Team A is better than Team B because they're first and Team B is last. But if the Pistons, who are first in the Eastern Conference at 26-9, go into Washington, who is 14th and 9-25, and turn the ball over 25 times, odds are the Wizards get their 10th win of the season, because this is the NBA. When you make mistakes, the top 1% of the basketball players in the world will find ways to make you pay. So, crucial that the Blazers take care of the ball tonight. All right, the music is on. That means it's time for me to go. But you, keep it locked in here to Rip City Radio, because coming up next, Chat Doing has a Trailblazers pregame show across the Trailblazers audio network. And then after that, he'll hand it over to Travis Demers, who has the play-by-play Blazers versus Jazz here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio. Also, massive shout-out to our boy Travis Demers, who was named Sportscaster of the Year for the state of Oregon by the NSMA. Awesome accolades for Travis. And, of course, when it's all said and done, keep it here for the 5th quarter, where hopefully we're breaking down a Trailblazers victory. Rip City, I'll talk to you after the game.